Welcome to Women Building Women, the podcast with the intent of driving out animosity amongst women. I'm your host, Samantha Litedi, and this episode is titled Bridges, Not Gatekeeping. I first met my guest at a radio training academy co-run by Grant Nash and Tim Zunkel. She walked in, blonde hair, pink silky blouse, and an infectious smile that lit up the entire room. Honestly, that's where she had me. Her energy was undeniable, and you could feel it in the way that she carried herself. She took us through her journey from being an accounting student, joining VOW FM, and ultimately up to where she is now at YFM. But that's not it. Noni Khumalo is a TV and radio award-winning producer, corporate MC, a mentor, and an actress. And in my opinion, YFM's very own sweetheart. Nons, I am absolutely honored to have you. Welcome.
Oh, Sam, that was such an incredible intro. Can I tell you, when you described how I walked into that room, I was literally wearing that outfit. Blonde hair, ka blouse, ke sa phethesele, ke sa phethesele. Ke le ngwanyana o. Thank you for that intro. That was beautiful. Thank you. I like the YFM sweetheart. I think I might just add that every time to my intro at Y. Thank you.
Yes.
Happy to be here. So happy to be here.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
So, there's this unconscious bias when it comes to professions, right?
Yeah.
So, certain professions, you'd think a certain gender is more suitable to that profession. So, when I think about sound engineering, radio management, production, I think of a man. And actually, during your presentation at the Academy, you spoke about having a competitive edge, like knowing how to operate the mixing desk and other equipment in the studio, how to use the software, in addition to being the voice. And I want to know, how did you get there? And how would you advise other people, or other women rather, to get a foot in the door when it comes to those certain technical and leadership roles?
I think, again, as young people, we've got this instant gratification attitude that I'm going to post a video on TikTok or on Instagram, I'm going to go viral, and I'm going to become the star, to a point where you forget that you actually have to do the work. To get to where I am, or to get to that point, is to do the work. That's all you have to do. Walk into rooms that you want to be associated with and say, here I am, I want to work, I can show you that I can do the work. And that's the only way you can make it without having to kiss anybody's bums, because wow, that happens a lot. So my advice to getting to a point where you're able to literally do radio back to back, from being the voice to producing to technical to audio, whatever it might be, is to actually do the work. That's it. I have no other advice, but that's it.
I want to touch on that point.
Yeah.
About bums.
I didn't mean it like that, but since we're going there.
Yeah. So why do you think some women in the entertainment industry feel pressure to compromise their morals on the come up?
I think it's because it's normal. We've made it a norm, unfortunately. If I'm the only person who's kissing bums to make it, I'll feel it. The world will talk about the fact that I am the only person doing it. But if everybody around me is doing it, then that's how we enter into the space. I just need to be a pretty girl with a nice figure, kiss the right frogs for me to make it, and Bob's your uncle. Unfortunately, that's the norm. I say something that we look upon and it's shameful. It's now done openly, where we know how you got there. And I think that's why Basadi are like, if it's normal, then why not?
How would you advise them in terms of how you got there? Because I know you didn't get there that way. You do not strike me as that type of woman. A woman of your caliber, I know that's not how you did it.
I was going to say, le joleng early, le securing future lona early, le krem banna early, but unfortunately, banna ba fedile ka 2011. So you're in big trouble now, right? But I mean, jokes aside, I think harabatlo bereka man. And it goes back to the instant gratification thing. I love my journey. I've been pushing for a while. I don't know when I'm finally going to get to a point in my career where I'm like, this is exactly where I wanted to be. You know, I definitely wanted to be where I am now, 8 years ago, but it's an entire journey. And I think that that's what we miss as young people is for you to get to where I am today, you have to do the work, but you're not going to get there as easily as everybody else because you're actually putting in the work and you're letting your work speak for itself. You know, when they say, let your work speak for you, now my work speaks for itself. And it's going to take a while for people to then see the type of work that you put in, but I'll definitely do the work.
Definitely. Honestly, when you asked me earlier on off record, like what inspired women building women, and I was still explaining the different scenarios, but the building blocks to actually getting to a point where I started recording the podcast, you actually formed one of them. Because the day when you came there and you presented and you spoke about being an accounting student, obviously I was as well, and obviously my passion lies in radio and podcasting and not necessarily accounting, but like I said, I had to go down that path for survival purposes. But just hearing you talking about how I think no driver score for or something like that, I'm just like, I was just marveling at you. I'm like, Mosarioge hasla okay. I don't know if you even remember how I kept asking you questions. Like I was the main person that day in that session who kept raising her hand to the point that at the end of the session, Tim came over to me and was like, do you want to just record something about how you felt about this session? Because you seemed like you thoroughly enjoyed it. So that was really inspirational. I am truly inspired by how hard you've worked to get to where you are. So what does healthy competition look like in the industry? And when does it then cross the Rubicon? And I can use these accounting terms because we study accounting.
Accounting jargon. Yes, love it loads, Kasana.
So where does it cross into silent sabotage?
Beautiful competition looks like when you and I are building something together, where we can be in the same organization and we're competing against, let's see who's got the better product, but without us having to compete. So you can come to me and say, Noni, I'm really struggling with 1, 2, 3, 4. Noni helps you. And I come to you and I'm like, Sam, I'm struggling with 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's like, okay, bet. Let's see what the bigger product is. And when you win, Sam, I'm happy for you. And when I win, you're happy for me. That's healthy competition. That's what this thing is about. Because if we don't perform at our optimum, then the bar will be set very low. So healthy competition is necessary. It becomes otherwise when Noni then says, Sam, I unfortunately can't make it to this thing. Can you please just stand in for me for a few minutes? And then Sam says yes to Noni. But when it's time for Sam to deliver for Noni, she goes, no. I'm going to abandon your guest. I'm going to abandon your paperwork because you must now be seen as the girl that doesn't work hard. The girl that drops the ball. That's when it becomes sabotage. Because you're like, this is the same girl. If she's award-winning, then she must be perfect. But just because I'm award-winning doesn't mean I'm always available to do the work that I'm really great at. So can you help me as the person who's also good at their job? But you're not going to do it because you're going to make me look good. Why must you make me look good? That's when it becomes sabotage.
Have you found instances where you have real life examples, even if it's not in your life per se, but just people that that you've heard of, where there's an example where there's been that type of sabotage?
Not really. I don't want to lie to you. I think I'm too dependent, or too independent rather. I'm too independent that I don't trust anyone. And that's a shame. That's a shame. That you're like, Okara, you're going to burn me. So rather let me do things my way. Because I'm going to be honest with you, the spaces where I've worked in, the people that I've kept very close, Ratusan. So I don't think I've experienced one where it's really sabotaged me to a point where I'm now resentful, but I've always had trust issues. So I'd rather do it myself.
I think those are traits of an accountant
But that's sad, Sam. Why can't we depend on each other?
Right.
Because there's literally enough for everybody to eat.
Yeah. And your win or your light shining doesn't dim mine. People need to get that. Honestly, actually, that then brings me to my next question. So What's the most powerful benefit you found in collaborating with rather than competing against another woman?
It's us executing excellent work because you're teaching me something I don't know, and I'm also teaching you something that you don't know. And the day you need me, Ratusan. That's the beauty of. I remember when I got to Trends Live on SABC News Channel, right? I'm obviously very new on TV. I don't know how TV works. I'm a radio girl, right? And when I got into TV, I was very, very hungry, but I honestly didn't know where to start. And there's this incredible lady, Didi. She's like our older sister on the team. Didi held our hand. She held our hand. She's been doing TV, for over a decade, if I'm not mistaken. And she literally held our hand and taught us everything about TV. Do you think when Didi comes to me and says, Noni, can you please get me this artist? Noni, can you please just do this for me? Because you've literally helped her throughout her journey. I'm forever indebted to you because you've made my journey easy. Noni Kumalo wouldn't be a TV award-winning producer had it not been for people like Didi. Because then who would have taught me the ropes of television?
Didi is a true example of a woman building women.
She's incredible. I absolutely love her. I think when it comes to being meticulous in execution, because I'm a perfectionist, but Didi, my lord. Didi Ratameki. There are no shortcuts. Because in everything there's shortcuts. In every single thing there's shortcuts. But she tells you that if you do things right from the very beginning, there's no space for loopholes. And if you do it right, you become better at it and it becomes a norm. It's difficult when you start, obviously, when you have to do everything from scratch. But the more you do it, the better you become at it. So for me, we just produce great content when we're together because you help me and I help you.
The win-win situation.
It's a win-win. That's what makes it powerful.
I love that. Shout out to Didi.
Love her. Love you, Didi.
I just want to touch on social media. I've seen your content. Obviously, you've been busy with BTS here. And the content that you put out is top tier, like 10 out of 10. I enjoy watching your reels on Instagram. I'm just like, I wish I had it in me because, wow, Noni's doing the most. And I know like with social media, it's almost like a ground for comparison. That's where a lot of young girls start to develop these insecurities because they're comparing themselves with everyone online. So how do you protect your self-worth and stay focused in your own lane or on your own lane rather?
I think we can't run away from the fact that everybody wants this perfect, beautiful life on social media. I've fallen into that trap as well. But I think I constantly need to remind myself that social media isn't a real place. And even the videos that you see of me or the pictures that you see of me, Sam, that's me at my best or even at my worst. But everything is curated. When you're seeing me crying, I'm curating the cry. I took my phone and I said, I'm going to record myself crying.
That actually sounds sick.
It sounds crazy. But that's also because you want to show people that you too go through these emotions. Doesn't mean it's not true. But I'm saying that everything is curated. So as a young person, you can't look at my page and see majority will obviously be the successes because we don't necessarily post when things aren't going right. We'll do it once in a while as a shock factor. But everything that you see on there is curated because I am building a brand. It's not a true reflection of who Noni is. I've tried to incorporate who I am by starting to do these mommy vlogs now where you literally see Mika Conrozu. Yesterday I was recording myself, so now one eyebrow is at the top and, because that's when I'm not perfect. But the content that I produce on social media is perfection. So you cannot believe that as a young person. You can't look at that and say, I want this life when our lives are never the same. You don't know how I got my Louis Vuitton bag. You don't. You absolutely don't. You don't know how I'm driving a Range Rover and I'm telling you that I'm a content creator, but I'm spending half my day at a spa and not actually doing work. Social media isn't a real place. And I think the minute young people realize that it is your journey and yours alone, I think you'll be fine. I think what made me realize that social media is my platform was after having my child. Because you feel so insecure about recording something like, what if people think I'm this? Oh no, maybe this is a bit too much or it feels invasive. I had to look at it and say, I'm actually doing this for my child. I want when my child grows up to be like, this was my mom. Like Mamaka Nachereza. My mom was like, she's funny, she's cool. Like Umudumo, Like, I want my child to experience that. And I think the minute I started looking at it that way, it totally shifted what I post and how I post. I don't curate things anymore as much. Now I'm like, if I post, I could poster. That's what I'm going to do. So I think the minute young people realize that social media isn't a real place and you start doing it for you and not for everybody else, you'll be great. It's okay to aspire to have that LV bag and the Range Rover and live in a mansion in Hyde Park. Absolutely, we want that. We want to inspire you. We want you to dream and want a beautiful and bigger life. But don't take what you see on social media as people's realities. They're just giving you what they want you to see.
True.
Yeah.
And there's also, I guess, a difference with brand ambassadors as well, because the time I shot the episode, Women in Social Media with Stella, and I was looking at a couple of rate cards before the actual episode, I was like, this is insane. Yeah. How are you getting 50K for that package, you know, like a reel or whatever? And I'm like, people are already getting paid, but then there's a difference. You don't know who really is a brand ambassador and who is doing what. So you're absolutely right. Just focusing on what you're doing and staying away from that comparison. So also sort of in the same breath, when it comes to social media, we've seen a lot of attacks online towards people. And I think some of them have ended up resulting in suicides, which is terrible. But what do you think people can do, like that online community, when another woman is being dragged, like instead of jumping on that wagon as well, how do you think women can shield each other in those instances?
I don't know what it is about society where we almost don't have independent minds. And I'm going to take a real life example by using myself, right? So quite recently, I posted a video where the motto of the video was to say to young kids that even if things don't go well for you, you can still become a success. It takes one person to then find something in your video that you didn't even say, blow it out of proportion, and create a lie. And then everybody else will jump on it. You know, now it became, I said that you can't get into a South African university with A levels. When all I said was, I wasn't eligible to go, so I wrote my matric, meaning me, Noni Khumalo, not you that went to Crawford, not you that went to St. David's, not you that went to St. Stithians, but me, Noni Khumalo. This is my journey. And I think it's so easy. I don't know if Rekwatile or we're just always looking for someone's downfall, that you want to jump on the fact that, oh, we've always thought that this person was successful. Kanti, ubizile bana babang. We've always thought this person was successful. Kanti, ki kruk. So we all really are starting to jump on that. And that for me is very frustrating. We need to stop that. Like, have an independent mind and think to yourself, is it even worth it? Like, what do I benefit? What do I benefit from dragging Sam? I benefit nothing. And I don't know where that culture comes from. I think to a point where I even said that to somebody who was commenting quite negatively on my Instagram, because I love my Instagram community. Like, those are my people. Very, very positive. It's very rare that I get negative remarks on Instagram. I literally had to say to somebody, can you please have an independent mind? Watch the video again. You can even read it because there's subtitles. Maybe perhaps also go through the comments and see what I've had to say about this thing before you jump on and assume. And I said to her, do not be like those TikTok people. Because that's where I got all the backlash from. On Instagram, hardly the case. It is a safe space because they saw what the video was for and not what they assumed for it to be.
Was there a response from this person?
No, they didn't respond. Because they read the comments and they realized, sorry, I just made my own assumption.
You know, I was saying to someone the other day, actually, that people who are unhappy with themselves, people who are not at peace, who are not content, are those very trolls. Yes. That's why they have the time and energy for that nonsense. Honestly.
Because why are you going to come and fetch me, babe? You commenting negatively on my social media is not going to change my bank account.
And also, it's like,
it's not.
If you don't like the content, keep it moving,
Keep
honey.
moving.
Ain't nobody forcing you to watch my video.
Even Sam, if you are unsure of what I might have said on the video, it's courtesy to ask. What do you mean by that, Noni? So you weren't able to go to South African university with A levels? Why? How come? And let me explain, as opposed to you assuming, I did A levels and I went to South African university. Babe, I actually have a certificate that says I can go to university, but I don't meet the APS requirements. That's why I couldn't go, because I didn't have the score to get me in, because every university has standards. So batho nje ba feel gore no, ngwanyana o story sa hae, it doesn't make sure. What kind of girl is this? No, she probably failed. That's why I'm just like, babe, you guys have time to camp on my small little TikTok and make assumptions about my life. But whatever you say doesn't change anything.
Exactly. Ebile half is a comment and then maybe go etsagalang.
Babes, ebile ke commenta ke le ko mmerekong. Ke lo gola go go invoice madi. Nna. Yes.
So you actually already spoke about this when you spoke about Didi, and I wanted to ask you, like, to share a time when a woman was really supportive towards you and advocated for you and lifted you up. Do you have any other examples apart from Didi?
Girl, I have so many.
Ooh,
I have incredible
bring them.
women in my corner. Ngaqala le ko primary about the amazing women that have always been in my life. But also a very prominent one would be Anelem Dota. I used to lecture at Boston Media House. And if you ask my students, who, by the way, are doing incredible work right now in the media space, if you ask them who my prime example was when I spoke about media practitioners and how excellent they are, they used to call her Forever Yena. Because anything, I would say Anelem Dota. What an incredible woman. Not only is she a powerhouse in media, but she always stands up for what's right. And I was never scared of the environment I was in because she's very protective of the people that are around her. Love Anelem Dota down. She knows hard work. She knows people's intentions. And when now you start stepping on those people's toes when you're not supposed to, she'll definitely stand up for you. So forever, Yena.
Absolutely love that nonce. I feel like I want another one. Keep them coming.
Oh, no, she's amazing.
This is what this is about. Give me another example.
Oh, a prime example. Oh, there's no way I can forget this one. My MD at YFM, Hasina, who just got married quite recently. I remember very early, because you know, pregnancy, we don't share much until we get to the safer stages in our pregnancy. But I remember quite early in my pregnancy, and I just done like my first like YFM shoot. I was about to do it. I stepped into Hasina's office and I was trembling. Do you know what trembling is? Because you're about to tell the MD of your company that you're about to have a baby. I stepped into her office. She sat me down and I said, Hasina, I'm pregnant. The joy on her face. And I said, I am so nervous. She's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. Like, you know, am I going to manage doing work and being pregnant? You know, Gamo, it's cameras everywhere. It's this. She's like, you are going to be incredible. Like, if men can do it with half the excellence and qualifications as you, trust me, you are still going to be excellent in your pregnancy and post. And I actually even wrote about it on LinkedIn. And I said, what an incredible leader. Somebody who's constantly going to remind you that you are excellent. And I think that's why I also can't really relate much to spaces where there aren't a lot of women in leadership. The space I'm in now, majority of the leaders at Y are female. So I am so fortunate. So, shout out to Hasina. Yeah, that's like, I don't have a place where I can say there haven't been women that have stood up for me. There are many. There are so many. Like, even my boss, Lulu, at the SABC as well. She allowed us to run wild with our ideas about what it is that we wanted to put on television. She never micromanaged us. She just allowed us to just be, and we've got an incredible relationship today because of that. Tando Makunga from 947, I remember in my interview, she's in music now. She was a station manager at 947 at the time. And in my interview, she just asked me, like, what are you doing right now? I'm like, no, right now I've got my BCom, but I'm driving kids in my family business because I want to pursue radio. And my dad said, you can't pursue radio without a job. So do something. You can't just sit here and just do radio. So my dad was like, join the family business and drive kids. And she said, you know what? Just because you drive kids, it means that you're a very good driver. And at that time, to be 947 crew, and I think even today, you were driving around Johannesburg. So she's like, based on the fact that you drive kids around, it means you're a very good driver. And literally, that's how I got the job. Obviously, because of my radio experience, but even that as well. I've had amazing women. Like, I can't, and I feel so bad that I can't name each and every one of them. But I would be doing an injustice to females if I sat here and I said, there aren't any women that backed me up or that stood by me or that stood for me. I'm so blessed.
You are blessed, Nons. I love hearing this is just warming my heart, honestly. I mean, this is what this podcast is all about. So hearing this is absolutely beautiful. And you are like such a reflection, I feel, of all these women who have built you up. Because, like I said, even when I said when you walked in the room and you smiled and you lit that room up, and it's so funny because the room was dark. It was a cinema room. But I was just sitting there in awe. And I'm like, this incredible woman, she's done so much, but she's so humble. So you are such a reflection of all these amazing women who have also played a role in your come up.
Yeah. Because bana lebutu, like the women that I've mentioned have got years on years in this industry. And for them to stand up for me, to root for me, they don't have to do it, but they do it anyway, you know, and that just shows humility, and it shows that they want to groom and develop the next generation of media practitioners. So I'm so grateful.
If you could rewrite one unspoken rule that women operate under in the industry, what would it be?
It would be that there is room for all of us at the top. We should stop glamorizing this thing that you are the only female in the leadership team or you are the only black. Can we stop that? Because I don't think people speak enough about the traumas of also being the only woman or the only black in an organization because you don't have the right support. And I think if we hold each other's hands, like we can all eat. The pie is big enough for all of us. And the more we put into this pie, we can build a bigger one so that even your slice gets bigger just because we've all worked together in this. So can we stop this thing of gatekeeping, of not helping one another? There's room for all of us at the top.
You literally answered my next question because I was going to ask you, what do you think the world would look like if women didn't see each other as gatekeepers but acted as bridges for other women? And girl, you just answered, but if you want to add on to that, you are more than welcome.
Ma'am, it would look the same way it looks like for men, just with a bit more heart and nurturing. If we can just stand together, we can do so much more. But we're so isolated in our thinking, isolated that we can't build because you're trying to run alone when I can help you. I'm trying to run alone, but you can help me. So can we stop that, please? Thanks.
There's actually a post on my Women Building Women Instagram page. So the title is Stronger Together. It's one of my favorite quotes. I don't know it off by heart, but it's basically speaking to exactly what you're saying, that we would be so much stronger together if we actually work together. So what advice would you give a young girl or young woman on the come up who want to find themselves in the TV or radio space, like specifically also in terms of, you know, support and alliances with their fellow female peers?
Do the work. Like I don't have any other advice because the only way I've reached where I am today, being a multi-award winning media practitioner, was that I put in the work. Just put in the work. The right people will see you. All the women that I've mentioned as the pillars along my journey, they see me because I am doing the work. Let's stop this thing of wanting things to happen now. Of course, we all desire that. You know, you want to make it into campus radio and in 2 weeks you want to be picked up by a commercial radio station, but that's not how it's going to happen. It might take 4 years, maybe 5. Or you will eventually get into a commercial radio station, but they might not give you what you want. And that might take more years than what you anticipated. I'm close to a decade into the space, and I still don't have what I want in the radio space. The radio space that I'm so good at, that I'm so passionate about, I still don't have what I want. But one thing Nonu Kumalo will do is put in the work. And you put in the work from day one. That's how you build your foundation. And once you do that, I'm telling you, the world is your oyster. Just put in the work.
Do you mind sharing with us what exactly it is that you want?
Why is Sam putting me in that spot? Can I come back when I have it?
Okay.
Can I come back when I have it? I'm not jinxing it, but I want to come back when I have it. Because then I want to show young people that it took me this long to get there. Because you might look at my journey and think that Noni has arrived. I haven't. I've got such a long way to go. But I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying the process. And as you build, you actually get to see, okay, actually I can pivot, I can go this way. Maybe even if I do this, then I become more valuable. And trust me, when you put in the work, you become that girl. Negotiations are different, baby. Now when you step into rooms, you know exactly what you want. You know exactly what you want. There's going to be sacrifices and compromises here and there, but you'll get to a point in your career where you also want your share. And you'll get it. But you just have to put in the work. And when I get that thing, Sam, which I think is not too far off.
I love it. I know you're going to attain it. Okay, we're going to have a part 2 of this.
Of course. Okay. Of course. And I'll walk you through my journey. I will. I promise.
Thank you so much, Nons. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Thank you for being unfiltered in a very great, respectful manner.
I tried because I have quite a mouth on me. I really do. And I think it's because, as I said, I've put in the work. I don't owe anybody any favors. So I can speak my mind because this journey is a journey that I built by myself from scratch. So I'm not too disappointed with myself this time because sometimes I'm like, yo, maybe I shouldn't have said this. But today I think everything I wanted to say, I've said it without stepping on many toes. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And also just over and above all of that, thank you for being the woman that you are, for being such an inspiration to other women. Like I said, you are part of the puzzle of me actually starting to record this podcast. Like I was truly inspired because also your story resonated with me when it came to the whole accounting journey, but realizing that, hey, my passion actually lies in this. And I found myself thinking, you know what? If Noni did something about this, girl, at least start recording a podcast at the very least, which is what I did. So thank you for that.
And you're doing incredible work, Sam. You're doing incredible work. You need to really put it out there and don't be bothered. You're doing it, so put it out there. Let people see you. You know, it just goes to show that you're a multifaceted woman and you can chase all your dreams all at once. Like you're in accounting, but you also have a podcast. I mean, hello, you are the gal, you know, and it's necessary. Our journeys are very different, but you're putting in the work. And that means you're sacrificing a day in your week when you could be resting. But because you've got a dream and you want that dream realized, you're going to put in the work. And that's all it takes. And by the time you know it, you're going to open your eyes and you're going to have built this incredible empire. And you're going to be so proud of yourself. You know, there's also a saying that my husband likes to tell me that says, just because you put in the work doesn't mean you'll be successful. And I know it's so painful, but it's true because we are walking blindly in faith. Yeah, we can only hope that our dreams become a reality. You know, I've been working for so long, not having realized my full potential, but I'm still going for it because something in me says it's going to happen. So we don't know. We're walking blindly in this faith, but you just have to put in the work and you can only imagine where it'll take you. And also remember, we also shift goalposts because I'm definitely way further than where I was even a year ago. My career is so much further. I might not be where I want to be, but I am so grateful for where I am right now. I'm so proud of myself. Really proud of myself.
You should be. Absolutely. Thanks again. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And until next time, continue being the woman building women.